fuck.
Hello. I think we can all come together and agree that elves pretty hot. It's a universal thing, from men to women to everyone in between. Elves pretty hot. See here, Exhibit A. Still not convinced? How about here Exhibit B? Or how about here Exhibit C? And even if you are based in dwarf-pilled
like myself,
even the most racist dwarf has to admit that elves are hot. So what happens when you combine elves and space? You get the Eldar. If you can't tell by now, this video will be covering the Eldar, or more specifically, the Craft World Eldar, because that is the best way to follow up an Emperor's Children video, and if you don't know why, I'm about to clue you in. If you enjoy content like this, or if you enjoy this video, then please let me know by leaving a like on this video so my self-esteem can go up. And if you want to stay tuned for the shenanigans, then feel free to subscribe. Maybe even comment down below if you are an Eldar player, because they are very few and far between. I do genuinely think that there's a need for more Eldar players in the hobby, because even though they are stinky poo-poo elves, we need some more damn variety in this place. And it's only about Space Marines and more diversity than fucking Warhammer. To start with, the lore of the Eldar dates back a long while and is both cool, convoluted, stupid, and unnecessarily complex for being space elves were good, and now they're Regardless, it is important to know these details to bully the Eldar just that little bit more, so here goes. This story of the Eldar stretches way back to the dawn of the galaxy. At the time, beings called the Old Ones lived and operated as the de facto gods, creating entire new systems of worlds and moons and races to populate them. One such race was the Eldar. They were handmade by the Old Ones to be inheritors of this new galaxy that had been made just for them. And as such, everything down to their anatomy was uncannily perfect. The Eldar were also particularly attuned to the then gentle and flowing tides of the warp. Being created by innately psychic beings, some of that tomfucker bullshittery did rub off on them. This meant that they were unimaginably skilled, indescribably talented, and no pass. Wizard motherfuckers! Woo! All was good for a long time until the Old Ones in Eldar discovered this backwater race of dying cancer people called the Necrontyr. Now the Necrontyr were the polar opposite of the Eldar. Their lifespans were short, miserable, their bodies were broken, irradiated, and they did not do cool wizard shenanigans. They pleaded with the Old Ones to aid them and make their crappy lives a little bit better and to give them an inkling of hope. But the Old Ones are extremely high fucking functioning and could not understand this social cue. Thus, the Old Ones left the Necrontyr to die off in misery in their corner, and this understandably made the Necrontyr fucking livid. Unlike the Eldar, the Necrontyr were not made. Rather, they simply emerged through random chance and evolution. And that same evolution fucked them over. They drew the shortest straw imaginable, below average size, my gentlemen in the audience. They were on the super fucking irradiated rock. However, the star that was dousing this rock in gamma rays was a very appealing food source to a particular echo of creation, the Catan, who fed on these stars to survive. Now the Catan saw the plight of the Necrontyr, and one of these star gods, which would then become known as the Deceiver, proposed to the Necrontyr a solution. The rest of the story I've already covered in my Necron video, so feel free to check it out either by clicking the card on the top right or by clicking the link in the description. Moving on, this turned the Necrontyr into the Necrons, and the war in heaven ensued. The Eldar were capable of harnessing the powers of the Immaterium on the battlefield, in addition to using more quote-unquote traditional means of warfare. Because by Eldar definitions of traditional, they mean laser shuriken blasters. Still, the war continued and killed an absolute shit ton of Eldar, Old Ones, and Necrons. Ultimately, the Necrons were winning, so the Old Ones created a new race called the Krorks, a previous evolution of the Orcs, to absolutely curb stomp the Necrons into the fucking dirt. The Krorks did exactly that and continued wreaking havoc amongst the galaxy. Oh my god, I'm stroking out. So as the Necrons went sleepy time, the Old Ones killed over and fucking died. The Eldar stepped up and became the dominant power of the galaxy for the next few million years. Immediately after the War in Heaven, a few new entities were created in the warp, or rather always existed in the warp. The warp is fucky wucky. It'll get its own video eventually, but trust me, bro. 3 Chaos Gods, Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, were created but always existed in the warp before and after the War in Heaven, but not. Sort of. Okay, so the Eldar inherited a new opponentless galaxy that was ripe for the colonizing. And I'll give you about 3 chances. The Eldar spread and colonized everything, transforming barren worlds into beautiful utopias using their psychic gifts to create machines to work and fight for them. Life could be dreamed, and the Eldar found purpose in other things. Arts, plays, love, entertainment became the race's sole focus, and there was nothing to oppose their rule and no one to dispute their judgment, and after a few million years they got unimaginably bored. The Eldar would begin to experiment with alternative forms of entertainment, eventually discovering the pleasures of the flesh in the other. And from there, it's downhill. The once elegant and noble peoples descended deep into depravity, taking full advantage of the calm immaterium to resurrect each other, well, calmer than today's immaterium, and as a means of allowing their fantasies to be enhanced. There was no fear or death. There's no fear or repercussion. There's only wanting, or rather, longing. The Eldar fucked like rabbits for millions of years and began doing the most horrific things to experience the most of everything. Take, for example, plays that would have actors fake tragic deaths would now have the actors actually be torn apart in front of a live goddamn audience. Games that would have opponents face each other in battles of wits eventually degraded into outright torture. Nothing short of sodomy and infidelity ruled the galaxy for eons until it all came crashing down. As the Eldar were deeply attuned to the warp, they are also deeply attuned to their emotions. Sadness does not exist in the Eldar, only grief, depression. Happiness does not exist, only euphoria or acceleration. The concentration of not just pleasure, but pure focused ecstasy for literally millions of years, paired with an unimaginably pure connection to the warp, all resulted in one thing: annihilation. The Eldar would literally and proverbially fuck themselves over, as all of their excess pleasure would give birth to a 4th Chaos God, who also always existed. Because the warp exists outside of linear time, never mind. Slaanesh was born, and in the instant that they were created, almost all of the Eldar ways, I swear to god I'm actually having a stroke, race was consumed by the god and condemned into an eternity of void. But yeah, about 99% of the Eldar were absolutely demolished at the birth of Slaanesh. The only Eldar who managed to survive was the Eldar who saw that their empire was becoming and exiled themselves onto craft worlds into the outer reaches of the galaxy to live solemn lives of chastity, and the Exodites who lived on maiden worlds and were protected by Aisha. Some Eldar after that then decided to leave either their craft worlds or maiden worlds to pursue their murder fucking ways, or continued their murder fucking ways during this period, eventually using their tech to create Kamara, or in Kamara, use more tech to torture people to stay young forever, but most of them decided that, hey, being alive, pretty good, and decided to stay on those craft worlds and maiden worlds. From then on, every Eldar soul was claimed by Slaanesh upon their death. Slaanesh would consume the soul of these poor fuckers, literally, and make everything worse. Which, in addition to that, due to the Eldar Being Eldar, the warp was now unimaginably fucked. Due to the birth of Slaanesh and millions of years of degeneracy, the warp became ridiculously unstable and a violent place that we all know and love today. So thanks, Space Elves, for fucking up our space travel. Either way, workarounds had to be created so that nobody was warred until they die, and thus both the Soul Stones and the Infinity Circuits were created to ensure the Eldar souls that died in war had an afterlife instead of just going to sex hell. There are little gems that you see scattered all over the Eldar model range. Yeah, they're unimaginably fucking important. Additionally, the warp is now turbo fucked, as so the Eldar created the Webway, which is a sort of safe space in the warp that only they can access and that allows them to safely travel in the warp without getting mega fucked. From then on, the Eldar have been a dying race, splitting up into multiple craft worlds and other sub-factions to best try and survive, which I will cover now. So, I've used the term craft world a lot throughout this video. I've never actually explained what a craft world is. Basically, it's a massive continent-to-planet-sized ship that houses every Eldar of a specific craft world. There are a few craft worlds in the galaxy, and all of them are different in some way, but mostly they obey the same basic principles of don't let Eldar die for no reason and get the rocks on the bone wall so Dad cannot get mega fucked. Each craft world also has its own color scheme and gimmick, which back in the good old days of 9th edition actually meant that they played differently, but now in 10th it is literally just what flavor Eldar do you want to feed to your opponent. But starting off with one I've at least talked about before. Craft World Ulthwé is one of the major craft worlds in the 40k setting. They're the black and beige accented, not the ones in the box, but they show up a lot in the lore. One of the main named characters in 40k is Eldrad Ulthuan, who is... okay. He's renowned for seeing the future and being a continental dumbass. An example of this is when Eldrad told Fulgrim not to get the Lair Blade because, trust me bro, and Fulgrim told him to fuck off. Another example is when Eldrad tried to warn Magnus not to trust Tzeentch cause, trust me bro, and Magnus told him to fuck off. See how useful being able to see the future is? Needless to say, yeah, this has pretty much always gone wrong, and it's pretty much always Ulthwé's fault, because they're wise enough to see the future, but not wise enough to use a fucking source. After that, we have Samhan. They are the poster boy craft world of the Eldar, the ones you see on the box. Their gimmick is being boring compared to Ulthwé, and that gimmick is that they like to go fast. So Samhan is considered the more traditional, carefree of the craft worlds, so there were motorcycles. White scars. Fuck it. Next up, we have Aliatok, and Aliatok is an actually interesting craft world. Aliatok is one of the most strict and rigid craft worlds of the Eldar who follow the path to the fucking letter. This has a bit of a twofold effect. A, the Eldar of Aliatok are more disciplined, and B, the Eldar of Aliatok have a significantly higher proportion of Eldar who decide to leave Aliatok to become Rangers, because fuck the rules. This makes Aliatok the de facto sneaky craft world, with Illic Nightspear being one of their more notable characters. Following the nerds, we have Bieltan, the Chads of the Eldar. Now, Eldar are normally a more ranged type army. Spells from far away, tanks going pew pew, all the guys using their special laser shuriken, spinner, death warp, fire gun, pistol thingies. But Bieltan, different. Bieltan, a very aggressive craft world. And so, are more melee-oriented of a craft world, which, considering elves and their stereotypes, is based as fuck. They are the white and green Eldar, which is an icky color scheme in my opinion. I don't like it, but I can respect a guy who... I can respect it like a guy who wears a thong to the beach. Not my thing, but I absolutely admire your capacity to tank judgment. Not going to mention balls here. Following this, we have the craft world that tried to be Bieltan, but failed. Iandon. Their history can pretty much be summed up as Tyranid Melee, now Wraithbone. And you wouldn't be wrong. Iyanden got invaded a whole bunch, but the straw that broke the camel's back was Hive Fleet Kraken, which is one of the biggest reasons as to why Iyanden is currently... The population distribution looks like 99% Wraith constructs and 1% living people. Okay, to clarify, Eldar still have their technology. They don't have an empire, but they have their technology. They have very few people left, but they still have their robots. And these robots, like everything the Eldar use, is made out of a material called Wraith Bone. It is literally solid warp, and it's pretty tough. The Eldar use the souls of the dead to power and pilot these constructs to work like dreadnoughts or hellbrutes, and that is Iyanden's gimmick. They have a lot of Wraith Blades, Wraith Guard, Wraith Lords, Wraith Knights, and as such, you're sort of the mechanized or tanky Eldar. And then as an Iron Hands player, I goddamn love that. Paired with the yellow and blue color scheme, it just tops it off. But opinions aside, they're the tanky /robot /chunky /guns Eldar. And those are the main craft worlds that exist. However, there are also many more craft worlds that have their own schemes and gimmicks and color palettes and lore. However, I am based in Dwarf Pills and an Imperium and a little Kiss of Chaos main, and as such I believe that they are mostly cringe. Though I do intend on exploring the Eldar lore when I run out of shit to talk about regarding humanity. I will very much shill to the Eldar, as the lore catalog for them is ridiculously underrated. Either way, Eldar craft worlds. Summed up, that's their shticks. And now we arrive at our precipice. We have all to ask ourselves, how do they play in the tabletop? Now we get to the fun stuff. The Eldar currently have, in my correct opinion, the most interesting faction rule in Warhammer 40,000, 10th edition. Which isn't a high benchmark, because most of the faction rules are just Oath of Moment variants, but anyways, the faction rule is Strands of Fate, and it is as such. Here goes a bad British accent.
At the start of the battle, make a Strands of Fate roll by rolling 6 d6s. If you so wish, you can re-roll all these dice, but if you do, must roll one less d6. You may continue to re-roll your dice in this manner, rolling one less d6 each time you do so, until you are satisfied with your results or only have a single d6 remaining. When you are satisfied with these results, the remaining dice become your fate dice for the battle and cannot be changed. All of these dice then go into your fate dice pool for the game once per phase, before making a dice roll for a model or unit in your army. That has this Strands of Fate ability, don't forget. If there are still fate dice remaining in your pool, you may substitute one of your dice rolls for a fate dice, and the dice that is being rolled instead is replaced by the fate dice you have selected at the value you're content with when you rolled it at the start of the game. Each fate dice can only be used once, and after it has been used, it must be removed from your fate dice pool. And if there are any remaining dice to be rolled, the remaining dice must be rolled, and fate dice may only be used to replace the following kinds of rolls: the hit roll, the wound roll, the saving throw, the damage roll, the advance roll, the charge roll, and the battle shock test. Do keep in mind, you may only replace one dice for both the charge and battle shock tests, as you can only replace one dice per phase.
Let's get that out. Haven't done D&D in a while. This paired with their current index attachment and the unparalleled foresight ability results in your army entirely being able to reroll a single hit and wound for shooting and fighting. Plus the Strands of Fate ability, yeah. In addition to that, you may also take in your army a variety of different units according to whether your army is Drukhari, which it is odd to mention in the Eldar index, but the units are in this index and it's free, so I don't care. Or whether your army is Eldari and your warlord is Yvrain. But this will be covered specifically in how to do army shenanigans, like the Word Bearers video. As of the Spirit of Time in 10th edition, the Eldar are very much a ranged army with relatively squishy but very capable and flexible infantry units. Your battle line and generally most useful units are the Storm Guardians, Guardian Defenders, and Corsair Void Reavers. The Storm Guardians are your melee infantry unit equipped with shuriken pistols and chain swords, plus some mandatory sergeant options and serpent shield generator platform, providing the unit-wide 5-up invulnerable save. This is a very good unit, very good chaff unit, very good chaff melee unit, and their Stormblade's ability really allows them to take and hold objectives after you've cleared an enemy on there. However, there's just a minor caveat to that. The assumption that the Storm Guardians are going to clear the enemy unit on the objective. Aha! Eldar infantry are fragile, toughness 3, and the chain swords are only 2 attacks at strength 3. Even though some of them can replace the loadout with better weapons, the Eldari Parasword or Flamer for example, a melee unit with this profile is ridiculously flimsy, which is to say that cover is very much your friend and you can expect quite a number of casualties, even with the 5-up invul. On the other hand, Guardian Defenders, far more appealing. Their default gear is Assault with 2 attacks. Considering how cheap the unit is, plus the heavy weapons platform, it is a pretty good loadout for the unit. In addition to their Defenders of Fate rule, which is very good. If a unit with this ability is on an objective marker you control, roll a d6 and add it to your Fate dice pool. This income is literally just guaranteed rolls, which is quite excellent in addition to the unit's sheer board positioning capabilities due to their most common weapons having assault, and the unit having that extra inch of movement, which is very nice. It is a well-designed and flexible unit and useful unit, above all to bring in Eldar armies that have a delightful amount of variability depending on what you equip on the weapons platform. If you need anti-tank weapons to deal with large threats to the unit, bring a Brightlance. If you need a high-output anti-infantry weapon, bring a Scatter Laser. The unit is extremely useful and handy, but not overpowered, which is the Goldilocks zone for any battle line unit in every army. Lastly though, there are the Corsair Void Reavers. They're the wandering mercenaries of the Eldar race, and as such can be taken in Drukhari and Eldari armies, but are still a ridiculously good skirmisher unit by default. All the models have the Eldari Parasword, very nice, and a little pistol. But all the members can replace their pistols for the sword. They can replace the pistol and the sword for a shuriken rifle, which is a really good weapon because it's both assault and rapid fire 1. Not only can they either be a ranged or melee unit, but they also can bring a large variety of weapons to deal with hordes, tanks, much like the Guardian Defenders. The real cherry on top, though, is their abilities. They get a default reroll hit roll of 1 or reroll all failed hit rolls when they're on an objective, which is quite powerful considering that you not only now are guaranteeing rolls and rerolling hits and wounds, but you can outright just keep fishing until you get the result you want. Pair this with Scout 7 to get your unit up into cover early in the game, and you have yourself a very powerful unit that can do quite a fair amount of work. After that, you can bring your other Eldar units, such as the different Aspect Warriors and different Wraith constructs of the Eldar, and even some of the tanks that the Eldar use. Fire Prisms, Night Spinners, Wave Serpents, a friend of mine's personal favorite, the Mighty Warwalker. A mighty Warwalker. All of these units are fantastic in either their rules, looking at you, Wave Serpent, or the sculpts, and make for an excellent extension to the Eldar army. But what is likely the most important part of the army is the characters, and boy howdy do the Eldar have quite a few. Oh, that was a voice crack. I'll be excluding the Aspect Warrior characters as they have a lot of lore behind them, but other than that, the Eldar's character catalog rivals even Space Marines. So starting off, the Autarch, Autarch Skyrunner, and Autarch Wayleaper are pretty much just Space Marine Captain, Captain on Bike, and Captain on Jump Pack. respectively. They serve as a general / leader / commander unit to slap into your basic infantry unit to make them a little better. The rules are relatively mediocre, just some command point bonuses and the relevant leader type ability, like with the Skyrunner's Ride the Wind ability. They serve as a good character choice, as they have an extremely versatile loadout that allows them to either be a good melee character or a good ranged specialist or an horror buff bitch for your army or for the unit you attach him to. And following that, you have the Farseers, who are the real leaders. I mean, the psychic specialists of your Eldar lists. They are a single psyker character that you can either run solo or attach to units. But there really isn't much incentive to do that, as all the Farseers' rules are aura abilities and don't require to be attached to a unit. Their melee is dog shit. It's awful. It's only there because it has to be, and their Eldritch Storm psychic weapon is actually pretty okay, but where the Farseer shines, where they fucking pop off, is their Branching Fates and Fortune abilities, which Branching Fates allows you to, once per turn, have a fate dice within 12 inches of this Farseer be changed to an automatic 6. Okay, let's elaborate. This, of course, doesn't actually refer to the proximity of the actual dice, yeah? But rather the proximity of the model or unit. If the model or unit is within 12 inches of the Farseer, then the fate dice used there in that unit can be an auto 6. Which is really fucking good! Paired with their Fortune rule, which allows a unit within 12 inches to have -1 to wound on a 2-up roll, and you have an absolutely killer support character to absolutely buff the fuck out of something like, Howling Banshees, Striking Scorpions, the War Striking Scorpions. Below Farseers, there are Warlocks who exist both on foot or on bike, and they are like the Space Marine Lieutenants of the Eldar, being able to attach to units that already have a leader. They have significantly less psychic stuff than the Farseers, however they do have a handy little ability for 45 points. Runes of Fortune allows the Warlock's unit to either automatically advance 6 inches while moving or have the enemy subtract 2 inches from their charge rolls against the unit. Pick one, not both. Both abilities are very handy and can be quite useful at 45 points, not bad at all. But usually it is better to run them in Warlock Conclaves, which also come on bike. Now, I know, they're not leaders, they're not HQ units, but shut the fuck up. Daddy talking. They make really good escorts for Farseers. 4 up no pain against psychic, -1 to wound while a Farseer leads to the unit. Although you won't have a little dude to help out, make guys go fast, get stuck in combat, or not get stuck in combat when you think about it. You will have a far more survivable psychic hit squad to clear out enemy elites and buff the rest of your army. The unit synergy is strong, well designed, and as well relatively cheap, providing a lot number of d6 blast attacks paired with some damn good aura abilities and a 4-up Field of Pain for a maximum of 200 points. Now moving on to a super Farseer. Eldrad. He is a very convenient character to bring in Eldar armies, as his shooting attack and doom spell are fucking mean. Eldrad is given the spell Magic Gun Mind War, which is a single attack anti-character 4+ precision, strength 5, AP 2, d6 damage, I cast gun, go meet god, death beam. It is ridiculously good against characters and probably could do some work against low model count or heavy infantry units, but his Doom ability, let's talk about that. It allows you to pick one enemy unit that is visible and within 18 inches, and on a 2+, make all attacks against that unit +1 to wound. This is particularly good on things like monsters or vehicles. If you can make weapons like the Dragon Fusion Gun wound on a 4-up instead of a 5-up, you're gonna start fucking melting tanks across the board, especially considering that Fire Dragons reroll wound rolls and damage rolls of 1s against monsters and vehicles. Very nice. Next we have Epilogue Nightspear, who is another fantastic character for a more Aliatok or Ranger spam type army. His Voidbringer Sniper it's fucking crazy. It's crazy against chunky infantry and characters, especially since it's heavy 2+ ballistic skill. What the fuck? Not only this, but Epilogue also gives wound roll rerolls for a unit he's leading, which can only be Rangers. Inline operatives for said Rangers, but pair his fucking cracked shooting, really handy abilities, and the fact he's 70 points with infiltrators and stealth, and you have a scary fucking boogeyman out there. Second last in the lineup, because Ynnari can constitute their own damn video, we have Prince Uriel. If you like Eldar pirates, but you didn't pick Drakari, Uriel's special thing is he leads the Corsairs. He has his Eye of Wrath, which is an okay profile, but crap range, and his Spear of Twilight, which is actually one of the Crone Swords, but not the lore section. Leave that later. It has a really good profile. 5 attacks, strength 6, enough AP to cut through chunky armor, enough damage to kill a Custodes in a single hit. His abilities, slightly below average. +1 to objective control, that not bad, but it isn't fucking Hunter Unseen or Bringer of True Death, so could be better. His Prince of Corsair ability is really niche, but really good. It allows you to redeploy 3 units from your army, even into strategic reserves, which, once again, can be really good to fuck over your opponent's positioning from turn 1, but at the same time, his abilities and profile is nowhere near as good as Illic, and he's 30 points more fucking expensive. God damn it! Lastly, now we have the Avatar of Cain, the punching bag of the 40k setting, except this time, he hit the gym and is now jacked. His range profile, busted. Being a single tank annihilating Dr. Manhattan Ligma Ball's beam of AP 4 and D6 plus 2 damage, with it being strength 16. This can even fuck up Demon Primarchs, and really badly as well, since it's also sustained hits D3. Which means, let me tuck my glasses and do a little fucking nerd snort, right? Use the Fate dice to auto 6, or you just roll a 6 to hit. You can be shooting up to 3 more of these beams, which means that if the stars align and the goddamn chasm appears underneath your enemy to swallow him whole, and you roll 6 to hit, 5 or 6 for sustained, and you cut right through the target unit's armor, which, let's face it, that's the easy part. You could be doing 32 damage max in a single attack, albeit it's extremely unlikely you do so, as you would have to roll 4 6s on the damage and score a crit hit, plus maximum sustained bonus shots, but it is possible. And the profile is still fucked without sustained. In addition, the Avatar Cain also has his melee profiles, which, considering a lot of Eldar melee is average or below, seeing this profile really is just a beautiful sight. Just, if you think this profile for Eldar is a beautiful thing, comment down below Molten Natty, because this is a masterpiece. Certified Hog moment. Do people still say Hog? I need a check. Now, its abilities. It has Deadly Demise D3. Not bad. It has half damage dealt to it ability. Very not bad. It has a 6-inch aura of +1 to advance and charge. Very, very not bad. And, oh, wait. That's it. Yeah, it's got some pretty good abilities, paired with the absolutely god-tier weapon this unit has, and the stunning kit and rules. Oh my god! If you play Eldar, you should definitely get your hands on this man as fast as possible. I am very much chilling for Big Corpo. If they keep making stuff like this, I'll happily plug myself into the Matrix. It is a pricey 335 points and a pricey in real world cash money, but we are already broke because we are Warhammer players. Get this damn bastard now! And that should be the Eldar. Lip smacking to piss off the people that don't like it. I know I skipped out on a lot. I intend to cover the details I missed in more detail at another date, because as I'm writing the script and recording it, I'm already on the 7th damn page of a 20-minute video, and by God am I over, so I think I should be wrapping up before we stop paying attention. Well, let's face it, TikTok kids stop paying attention at the 6-second mark. If you like this video, please go down and leave a like. It is probably the easiest and best way you can help me push my videos to more people so we can keep this Ponzi scheme of a hobby up and running. To keep up to date with what I'm doing, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned when I make my next Eldar related video, or possibly a battle report, since Well, I did say I was gonna make one back in, load up. Wait a minute. What did I fucking... Yeah, I swear I have it here. Oh my god, fucking genuine?
Rock and roll McDonald's! Rock and roll McDonald's!